Okay, hello, welcome to first edition of Greenhouse Live for 2020. Matt, Happy New Year, first of all.
Yeah, you too. It's nice to be back. It's nice to actually see some wet stuff outside. That should sort out some of the problems around the country, I'm hoping.
Yeah, it has started to rain, which is good, although it looks like it's stopping now, which is pretty typical of late. But yeah, we certainly need the rain, so we won't be complaining about that. It's been a difficult summer in Canberra, there's no question about that, from not so much a football point of view, I'm not talking about, we'll talk about that in a sec, but obviously been tough times with a lot of fires not that far away from here. We had the smoke, we've had the hailstorm that I think half destroyed Steve's place. So yeah, it's been a bit of a battle. So I think everyone's looking forward to the football season and hopefully a bit of normality.
Yeah, look, footy season's only 5 or 6 weeks away now, and we've obviously started here at the Fan Day, and we've watched them train today, and had a pretty good session today, I think. Interesting to watch how some of those guys lined up, but I must admit it didn't look like it was quite as ferocious as it has been the last couple of years.
No, it was pretty much a training session rather than sort of an intra-club practice match. That's sort of traditional part of the family day we've had to kick off this season. What we also tend to do on the family day is going back to last season, and obviously last season was a fantastic year. We couldn't quite get there in the last few minutes of the grand final, but we go and present the Fans Player of the Year from the greenhouse, and it's a bit of a tradition, I think, as well, that we present it to the same bloke every year. That Josh Papalii won it once again last year. It was a fantastic season from him, and interesting actually. We're going to bring Josh in. So Josh, welcome. Hey Josh, good to see you again. Hey, just a traditional New Year present the last year's trophy as well as the. And of course, Josh won the Meninga Medal as well last year. So, and just on that, so the Meninga Medal and the Fans' Choice Award is done entirely based on the home and away games. So, for too many seasons, that's been it. But last year, of course, we had an extra 3 games after that because we won the first one. And Josh actually won the award for the best finals player as well. I think, Josh, that prelim final in Canberra, I think was probably one of the best games I think I've seen a Raiders player play ever.
Yeah, look, it was obviously a game I wanted to be a part of, and to try and take Canberra to their first grand final in so long, and to be a part of that game and to finally ice that game and go to the 2019 grand final was something special.
Yeah, it was a pretty special night at Canberra Stadium. I don't think we'll ever forget that. But the whole season was special, I think. It was really the first time in my time in Canberra that we really stamped ourselves for the whole season. I know in 2016 we really got on a run at the end and we were right up there. But your season, Josh, obviously back-to-back Meninga medals, changing into the prop position full-time, playing Origin at prop must have been pretty special.
Yeah, look, playing prop is probably not an easy position there, and those kick-off runs is something I don't look forward to, but I'm willing to do anything I can to be a part of this team, and I think going forward it's we've got a lot of youngsters coming through now, so I'm starting to get on, so try and play as many games as I can.
So just on that, so for people out there that maybe haven't played a lot of front row, and not too many people have played front row at the NRL level. What's the sort of difference that you've got to do in your training, your preparation to play prop compared to playing back row?
Yeah, it's definitely just ongoing running. I think it's in the middle there. You're always on the ball. You're always in a tackle, or you're running to do a third man. Where back row, if it doesn't come out to the left, then you sort of get a bit cold in the Canberra winter, but it's definitely a good change for myself, and I think Sticky's definitely brought the best out of me, especially last year as well.
Yep, Matt?
Look, I've got a couple of questions, and the first one being that I'm trying to work out whether the trend with you is that you peak at the right time or whether you're actually a closet thief. As far as the water goes, as we mentioned last year, you actually managed to pip Joe Tapani in the last round. He actually didn't play. So you needed 3 points to beat him. You stole it on the last round. Actually, you did the same thing to our Cinderella story, Charles Nickel-Clockstad, this year. He also didn't play because Ricky decided to sit him down for the last round. Obviously, we didn't need the win to play finals. And you won your award. But I also have this sneaking suspicion that the Storm and the Rabbitohs are thinking something similar, because there was a game down at Amy Park where you strolled over under the black dot to steal the game very late, and then of course you did it in the prelim final. So do you peak at the right time, or are you actually a closet thief?
Well, I'm not sure. Well, I think, I told Sticky to rest those players in the last round so I can sort of receive this award again. But, I just think I'm just at the right place at the right time at the moment, and hopefully I can take that into this year as well.
All right, well, let's give you this, because I know Ben wants you to take you next door. We'll present you with the trophy for last year, Fans' Choice Players Player from the Greenhouse.
Cheers. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Congratulations, Bubba.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Grab a couple of photos, guys. All right.
To sell this, how much?
Well, you've got a few, so you've got a bit. Yeah.
You could use them as doorstops or something.
So
Thanks,
just,
guys. Is that it? I'll bring it in for you.
oh, just one quick one, Josh. One more. Obviously, 2019 was a great season, but it's gone now, and we're now ready for 2020. The preparation's been different. We've had a shorter preparation with a lot of guys, including yourself, playing international. Where do you think we're at for that, and how are we going into that first game in about 5 weeks' time?
Yeah, we're starting to look good now. We've finally had a good hit out in front of the fans, and you're definitely right about the shorter preparation there, and all the rep players coming after Chrissy, and we sort of had to jam pack everything into the last 3 weeks, and we've done that, and we've done it well, and everyone's starting to find their stride now, and hopefully we can start off well against the Titans and go from there.
Okay, terrific. All right, Joshua, we'll let you go to go and sign some autographs. But great to see you again. We'll book this in for next year at this time. No, look, great to obviously present that to Josh. It was a magnificent season last season in a really, really good season. So probably at times some of the players have won that maybe have been sort of the best of a group that wasn't going firing. But last season, when we really had a good year the whole way through, and there was a lot of good players, really, really great honour. And as I say, I thought it's not counted to this award, but his final series was just magnificent.
Yeah, look, I think no doubt that in the back half of last year that Papalii was our best player, and he continued it through the finals. I think Jack Whiten was probably a very close second in that final series, but look, no doubt he was our best player last year. Yeah,
no, definitely. So just to have a bit of a chat about the season preview. Obviously, a few things have changed over Christmas. That we have had a shorter preparation, and there's no question that worries me. I'm concerned about that. If you looked at, I think I talked about this in the thing we did about the history book, was, if you looked at our two best seasons over the last probably 15, 20 years have been 2016, 2019, and they were on the back of not making the finals the year before, having an early start to pre-season, having what was clearly a really, really big pre-season. I don't think there's any doubt these players are pretty fit, because you only have to look at them out there to see that they are fit, which is a difference to 2017, I think, when a lot of players, including Josh, and I think that by his own admission, didn't come back anywhere near as fit as they should have.
Correct.
I don't think that's the case this time, but it has been a shorter preparation. You've got a new halfback coming in. We'll talk about some of the changes to the squad, but a new halfback coming in that's actually still got a bit of an injury at the moment, so he's not doing full training. That is a concern for me, that being able to hit the ground running. And one of the things that we did last year is we got off to a bit of a flyer. We were 5-1. We were in that sort of top 8 the whole way through. We were never chasing the pack. So that does concern me.
Look, You're right. All that's correct. Very hard to argue any of that. You'd like to think that the fact that we've got an Anglo Englishman who's been playing with those Englishmen means that there's going to be some combination going there when George takes the field. You'd like to think that the international guys, having reached that level, have the discipline to keep going, and so there's going to be a little bit of rust because that's what comes with a shorter pre-season. But you'd like to think that the rust is there because of the quality of players that we've got, and therefore it should be shook off reasonably quickly. But no, you can't discount that as a factor going into the start of the season for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that, it's interesting in the end what that trip to Queensland actually did as well. I mean, it was obviously not planned. It was entirely due to the fires. You've got restrictions about how much you can do that these days because there's a cap on the football department spending. I think we sort of got a bit of a concession to do that, which was well, common sense as much as anything, because anyone who was in Canberra there for those first couple of days after Christmas knew that it was pretty hard to walk outside, let alone train for an NRL season. But that hopefully brought the team a bit together as well. I mean, I think this is a pretty close team at the best of times. But they went and got that work in Queensland, obviously in pretty tough, hot, humid conditions. Plenty of rain as well, actually, up there. Hopefully that also holds them in good stead going into the finals. Into the season.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, the last couple of years they've had to put up with 40-degree heat on repeat for weeks on end. So to get something that was a little bit different, to get away, all of those things, I think probably work in the club's favour. I think because of the shortened time period they had together, to actually force them to be together for that week is probably a bit of a leveler in that respect. Obviously, it doesn't make up for the miles that they wouldn't have done, but at least the team cohesion should get a bit of a boost there. So we'll wait and see how that flows together, but I think that's probably a good thing that they took that time off.
Yeah, no, well, certainly, hopefully it wasn't time off. I think it was they were there to work. There's no question about that, and I think they did do that. Obviously, looking at a few changes to the squad, we talked in that one that Steve and I did with Dave Heaton. I think certainly Rapana had gone at that point, and I think Caesar had just agreed to go to England. He's apparently started very well in England, which is terrific to see. He's captain of Huddersfield over there under Simon Woolford. But obviously Joey Leilua has also left in the meantime as well. I was a bit disappointed actually about that. I did think that Joey Leilua playing for a contract, whether that was with us or with anyone, would have been pretty good. But clearly there was some things happened there that he was out of favour with some of the coaches, and he wasn't maybe necessarily considered to be part of the first 13. But we do thank him, of course, for his 4 or 5 years at the Raiders, and certainly I think there's probably been no other player that's given us as much frustration, but there's not too many others that have given us as much joy either. He's done some pretty special things, including that flick pass to Johnny Bateman to win the final down in Melbourne last year.
Yeah, and then throw in that magical round-the-back job to Rapana against his new club. So, look, we've always said Joey is a rocks and diamonds player, and you can definitely look down that career and go, yep, there's a rock, there's a diamond. So, look, he's an exciting player to watch. I think the Tigers have probably picked up a pretty good player. Obviously, he's going to be playing probably alongside his brother on that right edge, so there might be some Harlem Globetrotters going on for the Tigers, which could definitely be a bit of risk-reward, but we'll see how that goes.
The other thing that we can't shy away from, and we'll go for probably another 5-10 minutes, the only thing we can't shy away from, obviously, the Curtis Scott incident, which was very disappointing, and that's obviously still before courts, and there's sort of, he said, she said sort of thing coming out of that. But the thing that I guess is disappointing is that players, I guess, in preparing for a season, and it's all very well for them to have the Australia Day weekend off, and there's plenty of other people in the community that go and have a big Australia Day too. I think that needs to be remembered. But it is disappointing that players at times can get themselves into that position where things can happen. Now, what exactly did happen is entirely speculation, and we won't get into that. But you do put yourself in dangerous situations, and that is a disappointing thing for a new player coming into the club. Yeah,
and unfortunately it all broke the same day that Joey Leilua's official signature news came out too. So the fact that happened on the same day is even less not less good is not a really good sentence.
Yeah, it wasn't great timing, was it?
But yeah, so it means that, of course, the start of our year is now in a bit of flux because we're not 100% sure what's going on with him. From what I've heard from Steve and a couple of others, there's a good chance he's probably going to miss the first couple of weeks. Looking at what happened today, it looks like the Raiders are only teeing up to cover for him in the short term. So they are obviously reasonably confident that once the next couple of hearings get done, that it'll all be done and dusted. And I'm sure that all Raiders fans will hope that's the case and that we can go back to full strength.
Yeah, definitely, and clearly it's not a good start for Curtis Scott. But hopefully, what it'll do is it actually realise that he's probably made his one big blue right at the start, and hopefully that'll get him focused and he'll play good footy. And there's no question, you will only have to watch him out there today. He's an athlete. He's an absolute superstar athlete that if he gets himself right and he plays some really good footy for Melbourne. Obviously last season wasn't as good, but before that, and he's been part of a really strong team coming into another strong team. I think he could be a very, very good player for us.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I was commenting right at the end they were doing those fitness drills at the end that he was one of the guys leading the pack and he looked like he was doing it easy. I think he's a very good player. Obviously he got a disrupted season last year with injury and a few other things off the field, but I have to say the last guy that had an incident post-signing for us just before he started, he turned out all right. So,
well, Josh Hodgson, yeah. I mean, when you look back at that and you think, guy running through a door, and we thought, what have we got here? I mean, you look back now and you think he seems to be the last bloke that would. Well, yeah. You can certainly see he's capable of running through a door. I think that brick wall he'd probably be capable of running through.
This morning, I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I think he's probably capable of running through a brick wall, But yeah, the way he's acted and the sort of person that he's shown that he is since he's been here, Hodjo, he's the last guy you'd expect to be doing anything silly these days. So hopefully the same sort of thing will happen. If we work into the season, we'll only go for a few more minutes. We'll see if there's any comments. But first game, we've got the Nines next weekend, and that'll be a little bit of a hit and giggle, I think, for everyone. Obviously, after a short preparation. We're probably not going to go into that with anywhere near a full-strength side, but that'll be a chance to blow off the cobwebs, I think, for everyone, and it'll be a bit of fun. I'm actually going over to that flight I needed to use, so going over and having a look. We got that trial game in Port Macquarie against the Bulldogs. It's the only trial we've got, so I dare say they'll take that reasonably seriously. There's a couple of players playing in that other Indigenous game against the Maori game. I think that might be the week before, but they probably won't play much of the trial then if they play that. And then leading into the first game, I must say, just looking at that little period between now and Christmas, now and the first game, I do get a bit jealous watching the Roosters all doing their preparation for going to England as reigning champions. You do sort of think, geez, 10 minutes different, that could have been us going there, but. The first game, obviously, against the Titans, we've got a bit of an opportunity, I think, and this is why hitting the ground running so important. If you look at the draw and teams, how they performed last year is not necessarily exactly how they're going to perform this year. But if you look at the draw, the first 5 or 6 games, we do have a bit of an opportunity to get off to a good start again, and if we're playing our best footy, but those perhaps lower ranked teams will have something to prove early on.
Well, I think we mentioned this at the end of the year wrap-up, that those teams that are actually at the bottom of the table quite often don't realise, or at least don't play like they are bottom of the table teams in round one. It usually takes them at least a month or more to sort of work that out. Which makes the Titans in round one, while it looks like an easy card, it's their first game too, and they'll be pumped up. They'll have had a long off season. They'll be ready to go too. So. It's sort of a game that you've got to be even more focused on, because obviously there's going to be a bit of rust. Everyone's first game, cohesion's not yet really going. And as I say, they've got nothing to lose at that point and everything to gain, because it's a new season, and you're going up against the guys that made the grand final. You show up in week one. Oh,
they'll show up. There's no question the Titans will show up in round one. Obviously, first game under a new coach, who will be there to be successful. He's had a history of being successful. Justin Holbrook. He's been obviously won the Super League last year. been part of very successful sides. St Helens were very, very strong, but he was part of the Roosters culture for a long time. So, he'll be desperate to get them off to a good start, and they'll be desperate to show their fans that they can have a good season and certainly be competitive there, and they'll come to Canberra really with nothing to lose. So that'll be a tough one. The other one, interesting, just looking at the draw, that round 2 game actually, almost Steve's worst nightmare, I think, about rugby league and rugby union sharing the bill. I mean, what did you think of that concept? I think it's going to be great.
Look, I think in Canberra, it's always one of those things where you got to go, okay, we're a one-team club, one-team town. It doesn't work to play two games on a weekend because most people don't want to go to both, can't afford to pay for 2 tickets. So I think it's a novel idea. We'll see whether it works.
Yeah.
But I haven't got a feeling one way or the other. I think it's a novel concept. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does, great.
Oh, as a member of both the Raiders and the Brumbies, I'm going over. I think it'll be terrific. But I think the Brumbies would be happy to play in front of any crowd at the moment. They're really not getting very good crowds. Actually, we just got the junior reps have just started out there. The girls have just 2 months. The girls have just started the Tarsha Cup. So they're playing against Parramatta, and then we've got the Harold Matthews and SG Ball, who I think are playing Parramatta as well, aren't they, Steve? Yeah. So 3 games against Parramatta. So if you're not doing anything this afternoon, it looks like the rain's going to be make it a pretty ordinary afternoon. You can always come in here and sit in the club and actually watch the game. So if you've got nothing better to do this afternoon, I think it's a really good opportunity to come down and watch, particularly the under-18s. We've got a number of kids that have been recruited from Queensland for our SG Ball squad, some with quite a big rap on them and I think both actually in all our junior grades we're actually going to have some pretty good players. So that's a good way to start the football season if you're not doing anything this afternoon. But I think we'll probably wrap it up there, unless we've got any comments or questions or anything like that, Steve.
There are a few comments to the effect that people can't wait to see the season start. Some people were watching us standing in the line for the signing session, and Darren is hoping to see you in Perth, Sean.
Oh, well, there you go, Darren. Well, hit me up on a message to the greenhouse, and Steve will get on to me. And happy to come and say hello in Perth next weekend. I'll be around. I probably won't be the bloke in fancy dress like they're trying to get most people to do, but I'll probably be wearing the same shirt I'm wearing now, in fact. But I hadn't been to the Nines in Auckland. I think it's a bit of fun. I think it's something they should probably do once every few years. I don't think they should do it every year. I think particularly coming off the back of an Ashes tour, it's going to happen this year, and then a World Cup is going to happen the next year. I don't think you need it, but it's a bit of fun to open up the season. Hopefully everyone will not get hurt, which is obviously a worry for everyone. But I think, look, until then we'll leave it there. We might come together again during the trials. Steve's going up to Port Macquarie, but I think you and I might watch it again and maybe do a show straight after that. And but until then, we'll certainly be there for that first game. Easy date to remember, Friday the 13th. So Black Friday, Friday the 13th of March is when it all really starts in earnest against the Titans. Fortunately, it's the only 6 o'clock Friday game we've got. I think there was a lot of groans when we got that fixture when they brought out the first round fixture before they brought out the rest of it. They thought, here we go again. We're just going to get the same old draw we got despite being grand finalists, but fortunately it's the only one we've got. So good opportunity to knock off work early on that Friday afternoon and get out to Canberra Stadium and support the boys in hopefully what will be even better season than last year. That maybe that last 10 minutes of the last game will be one better and I won't. Well, I probably will cry in the greenhouse live afterwards, but I won't cry for the same reason. So it's good to be back and looking forward to a big season.
Yeah, obviously we've been waiting for so long now. It's really hard to back up. We all know how hard it is to win a grand final, but I've seen a few of the boys tweet out they want to go one better. So with any luck, the mentality's that way, and we show up in week 1 and push on.
Very good. All right. Well, look, until we see you again over the next few weeks, as always,
go the Raiders.
Go Raiders.